the law is different market to market, right? And the law can be different channel to channel, right? So it's not as simple as, I'm going to do the same thing that I did in the state of Florida.
So let's talk distribution for a little bit. That seems like the hardest part of the 3-tier system to me.
Yes.
How does that work?
Well, in many ways, it's broken.
I'll drink to that.
Oh, you don't do this to me. How you gonna do this? I ain't got none over here.
You're welcome to come by the library anytime.
You come drink alone. This doesn't work. But distribution is definitely one of the most significant challenges. I don't care what organization we're talking about. You're talking about Diageo, the biggest spirits manufacturer and distributor in the world, or you're talking about Murmur Rum. Right? Everybody is fighting for 6-7 inches on the same retail shelf, right?
Yeah,
and that is it's finite. Right. So it is definitely the most difficult element of the business. That how do you get your brand in front of the consumer so that they can make an educated decision? And it's tough, and it's going to be difficult for any brand. So we don't try to sugarcoat that at all. But there are certainly tactics that can be used to give you a better shot at getting in front of the consumer. And much of that can depend on how you design your distribution strategy. Okay, so what markets are you going to? What type of accounts are you targeting? What are your spend levels in those accounts? What type of activation are you doing in those accounts to help, even if you are kind of lost in the thousands of brands on the shelf, what are some things that you can do to stand out? Whether that be, geo-targeted digital campaigns or point of sale and things that you execute inside the account, training retailers on the brand and helping them to gain affinity. So they're talking about your brand. They feel confident and comfortable talking about your brand versus the other 17 rums that they have on the shelf, right? So there's a lot of different things that can be done. And one thing that we focus on is we take that strategic component. We develop that, but the primary focus is on execution, and that's bringing that strategy to life in a real world environment. Right? So taking ideas and turning them into execution. So many different ways that you can do it, but distribution is going to be the focal point for every brand. But that doesn't mean that it's you want to be everywhere immediately. The key may be being in the right 20 places at the right time of year during the right atmosphere or energy inside that account. Maybe it's an off-premise or an on-premise hotel entity or an on-premise nightclub or something like that. Depending upon your brand's personality, what's the right time to be present in that account.
Yeah.
So all of those types of things we try to help clients think through.
That's awesome. So it sounds like you also help them navigate the laws around spirits.
Oh yeah, because I'm not trying to go to jail.
That's the hard part when talking about people that aren't of the industry. Like, oh man, you should do this type of event. And I'm like, okay, but there's a whole commission locally I got to work with. And if I do this one, I got to get feds. Like,
yes. Nobody's trying to get fined. Yes.
No.
I've been in that seat too, where I've had to sit in front of commissions and give testimony. So that's not the position you want to be in. I mean, thankfully, I was representing the organization. It wasn't anything that I did. I was just, making sure we got the organization off the hook.
Great distinction.
but you're absolutely right. This is and not only is it a land of law, as it pertains to governing spirits beverage, the law is different market to market, right? And the law can be different channel to channel. right? So it's not as simple as, I'm going to do the same thing that I did in the state of Florida, in Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
You may not be able to do that. That's not how it
Definitely.
works.
We
And you
don't even probably
definitely.
want to touch on controlled states.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's you're right. I mean, there's a lot of things that are different. I'm a Midwest guy, so the way that we operate here in Michigan is almost polar opposite than the way that the market operates in Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
It's the reason why a lot of people in Michigan drive over to Illinois and buy their booze and drive back to Michigan, right? Because the rules are different.
Oh,
so, yeah, but many that enter this business, they don't fully understand that, and even if they have some understanding, oftentimes it's not a deep enough understanding, and it can cost you a lot of money, a lot of time, making those mistakes, that come with operating outside of the law.
So how much money should a brand have to start?
Is it could be the few $1 million question, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it all depends. It all depends. It depends on what your ambitions are. So I hate to start there with, this is how much money you need. I like to start with what is the objective that we're trying to accomplish, right?
Okay.
Because it's going to be very different, if we are launching a rum brand that's going to be completely focused on Southern Florida,
Mm-hmm.
right? Versus launching a rum brand and we want to break into 15 markets in the first year, and we want to have a national account strategy attached to it. We have to be in the W hotels. It's like, that's going to be it's a different price point. Like it can happen.
Yeah.
Right. But it's just going to be a different level of investment that's going to be required. So it just really depends upon the magnitude of, your scope objectives.
Right. So there are layers to this.
Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure. But I would tell you, you're very unlikely to get liquid inside a bottle through the TTB and into a distributor ready to sell to a retailer without spending a few $100,000.
Okay. That's good to know.
Yeah. And that's just the basics.
Gotcha.
And I'm tired. You got lawyers to pay. You got you got bottles to buy. You have closure to buy. You have manufacturers to pay. Liquid to purchase. TTB applications, licenses to acquire in each of the states. It's a lot.
Wow. No, it is. I mean, and thank you for educating us on this process of, what it takes to start a brand, to get into that distribution and onto the shelves.
Yeah. That's again why we exist. It's a great industry, though. I mean, it's one that I did not imagine myself being in at all. So actually, I was doing something completely different before I got a call from a headhunter to say, would you, be down for having a conversation with these folks that they're in the beverage business in Michigan. I had no idea that it was even spirits beverage. It's a beverage company, and they'd like to talk to you. And that was Seagull, at that time. But I had no intention on entering this business, and I certainly didn't have any intention on staying in this business. Right? It was kind of a means to an end at that time. I said, I need a job, a check, and I need to pay for grad school. So yeah, I think I'll go ahead and do this for a minute. And now, 25 years later.
That's cool. Yeah, because I don't think I've met a kid that said, I want to go work in the spirits industry. So
well, for many of particularly for the Black community, we don't really understand the breadth of opportunity that's available in the industry, right? It's kind of a mysterious thing, even though we do a lot of consuming, we certainly don't do a lot of managing. We don't do a whole lot of brand creation. We don't own brands. We don't own distributors. We don't own even retail outlets at a large scale, right? But we are heavy consumers.
Yes.
Yeah. So to talk to folks, people are always inquiring with me, like, how did you get in the business, or what is the business about? And they're surprised that how vast it is. So
Yeah.
like every role that you have over at Ford Motor Company or Microsoft somewhere, guess what? We have those in the spirits industry.
Yeah.
We got massive IT departments, and it's a massive logistics operation. So, just like UPS, Southern Glazer Wine and Spirits has contracts with Ryder as a freight mover. These are massive real estate companies with warehouses and commercial buildings all over the country. So whether you're in legal or real estate or HR or IT, or there's opportunities in beverage alcohol.
That's good to know. I need to find the ones in Oklahoma.
Yeah, you IT. You're gonna go ahead and get you over here on the IT side. And there's been that's where it's actually been an incredible spike in the business with all of the data centered decision making that's taken place. Is spirits and wine has been behind the times. This isn't, you're not dealing with a Procter and Gamble level of expertise or intellectual talent inside the spirits and wine industry. I just tell you that it's just not. It's changing now. But it was really an old boys, old girls network that was pretty insulated and protected by the 3-tier, structure. So you didn't the threat of competing with the intellect of Silicon Valley really wasn't there until recently.
Yeah.
The business has been forced to really up its game and employ different technology and look for solutions in this tight economy, like every other business.
Oh yeah, I'm sure automation and productivity are key words.
Oh yeah. There's a bunch of robots running around in industry. So I can imagine we were already talking about driverless delivery and so if you're thinking about getting in this business, you got to be thinking years down the road, not just having a bottle in distribution at your favorite, neighborhood local pub, right?
Yeah.
It's much bigger than that. And we're only talking about the United States. So now when you go beyond that and we start talking about, global access to global marketplace, it's a whole nother world of opportunity.
So speaking of that, what is it like? It sounds like you probably have done some importing and exporting. What's that part like?
I've not personally done importing and exporting, but I've worked with global brands. And those I can talk about. So some of the biggest brands that I see some of them on your back there. That's a beautiful shelf. See all that Glenlivet up there? Yeah, I represented them for 20 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so Glenlivet, Chivas Regal, Jameson, Malibu, Absolute, a host of others, Captain Morgan, Crown Royal. So a number of brands that are absolutely global in their reach. So many of the brands that are produced overseas, they're owned by global entities. Call it Diageo, which is really headquartered in the UK. Pernod Ricard, which is headquartered in France. Those brands are produced all over the world. Glenlivet is a Scotch, obviously, and produced in Scotland. So as Pernod Ricard USA, we imported the Glenlivet, on behalf of Pernod Global. So Pernod Ricard USA is effectively a importer and distributor to distributors inside the U.S. So it's kind of a multi-layered business model, somewhat different than some of the other models that you have out there. But yeah, it was awesome, working with some of these brands. You get an opportunity to go and visit the production facilities and meet some of the people that are actually, building, the product, whether that be liquid or packaging and everything else. Very awesome experience to go and tap into the culture and see the pride that a lot of these folks take in their work. So I had an opportunity to visit quite a few places, Australia, Sweden, Spain, Scotland, Ireland.
Wow. Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, one of the things that I'm learning, I mean, I've got to get out to all those places, and hopefully we'll take the podcast with us, but the different regional spirits that places have. Yeah. Recently I learned about Bacanora, an agave spirit. Mm-hmm. I was like, wait, what is this? It was good. I'm not gonna lie. It was Kalinga Bacanora. Yeah. But it's just something, we are marketed tequila and then now more mezcal, but Bacanora, hadn't thought about it. How many other types of agave spirits are there? Right.
A ton, particularly when you get into mezcal. I mean, it's like a boom over the last decade in mezcals. I couldn't tell you how many there were. There are too many to count.
Yeah.
The one that I have the most familiarity with is Vita. Okay. This is one of the largest in the United States, one of the largest in the world. But there's just so many. Oh, now. Yeah.
Yeah, even in Oklahoma, we're starting to see more on the shelves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, they have to get that shelf space from somewhere, right? So, what's being pared down in order to make space for growing categories like mezcal? So you'll see things decreasing, like it makes it a little bit more difficult for products like vodka that may be on more of a plateauing and even somewhat a decline, even though it's still the largest category in the United States, stagnating and declining subtly. But that opens up opportunity for things like mezcal.